What's good, fam? I'm Deshaun with the Self Mastery Formula, and I'm so happy that you're with us today, where we love to bring you incredible stories from entrepreneurs around the world. And today is no different. We have a very special guest today. She is a certified freelance makeup artist and proclaimed self-improvement expert. Her makeup artistry has been seen in films and advertisement, and she hails all the way from Detroit, Michigan. So please get ready as I hit this applaud track and welcome Shelby Love.
Thank you for having me on, Deshaun. Hello,
Yeah.
everyone.
Beautiful smile.
Thank you.
Yeah, no
Thank
problem.
you. Mhm.
So tell me, so how's everything going?
It's going good. It's a weird time for everybody, but it's still going. It's still things are still moving, so that's awesome.
Right, like this whole COVID situation, it's a little crazy, right?
A little bit for
Yeah.
everybody in different ways. Yeah.
Right. We'll get through it though, right?
Yes, we will. And I see the light at the end of the tunnel. Mhm.
So tell me a little bit about your backstory. Who is Shelby Love?
Well, I grew up in Detroit. The oldest of four children.
Nice.
My parents kind of raised us kind of, I call it like alternative Black people. So grew up, aware of my Blackness, proud of it, but also very eloquent speaking. We were into like comic books and old school music. So that kind of just would come forward in my personality. So a lot of people, you know, who weren't always that way were kind of like, she talks white, like she's different. And I was like, oh,
Right.
okay. I don't know what that means, but okay. Uh,
Right.
my parents aren't together anymore, but they're still very much alive. So that's the most important thing. They
Absolutely.
got divorced when I was younger. But even though that was a hard time for me, I kind of regained my footing in a lot of creative avenues in my
Okay.
life, which kind of leads to makeup.
Nice. Okay. Okay. And I
Mhm.
think that's so important, when we're finding ourselves, you know what I mean? It's all a part of that journey. You know what I mean? Things happen. It's not always ideal, but it's a part of our journey. Now, how did you come up with Jan Cosmo? How did that come about?
Well, I feel like it's a funny story, but maybe it's not as funny to other people as it is to me. But it was supposed to be January Cosmetics. I went in January, so I just had my birthday January 25th.
Happy belated.
Thank you.
Yeah, no
Thank you.
problem.
So it was supposed to be January Cosmetics. I like shortened it because I wanted it to be like catchy, easy for people to remember. So Jan Cosmo. And I realized that Cosmo's not the same as cosmetic. Cosmetic doesn't have an O in it at all. So it was like, wait, that's not, oh, okay, well, I've been keeping it that way for some time now. So I'm just gonna roll with it. And then I got an idea from one of my girlfriends. She was like, you can just use that as part of your theme, like cosmos, like space. And I was like, okay.
Wow. Just like that.
I kind of started naming all the products after things that were space themed. So our lashes are all named after constellations. Our lip glosses are kind of themey, like space theme, like solar glow and Milky Way, and that's the kind of names we go there.
Do you feel that having that name, does it bring something to you that like helps?
People comment, I've heard people comment on Facebook, in groups and
Okay.
business groups like, this is a really dope name. Like you can just put anything underneath it because it doesn't like, certain people are like, oh, lash by this or dress
Right.
by that. So it very much gives away what they do right away. Not that that's bad, but I do want to kind of go into a little bit of merchandise and stuff like that. So it kind of gives you a broader spectrum, like, oh, it's just a catchy little fancy name. What does she do? So
Right.
that's cool.
And names is everything. You know what I mean? They're part of brands, you know what I mean? And it really kind of gives the first look at every business when you see the name. The name automatically is like, okay, this is where they at. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's really dope.
Thank
Now
you.
let me ask you, speaking of makeup, how did or should I say why makeup? What made you choose makeup?
It just kind of fell in my lap. And I feel like those are kind of the best things when you're not planning them. Like, there's a saying that make plans and God laughs, like that type of situation. So I was getting ready to go to college and I realized that I didn't want to be a doctor. I didn't want to be all those great stable careers. I was like, I want to be an artist. So I wanted to do music, but I wasn't classically trained. And
Uh,
I don't know if anybody else knows this, but when you apply, they ask you, okay, who taught you? How do you know how to do this and that? I had no real credentials. I was like, okay, maybe I'll just do something else and then go into music later. So I started doing theater.
Okay.
And I really think it's awesome how the Michigan State Theater Department works because they make you take classes for other things outside of just acting. So we had to
Mm.
take like backstage, like sound and design. So I took a backstage makeup class, and everyone was like, "You're great at this. How are you like? Why are you so good at this?" And I was like, I don't know,
Just
just
good
stick
with it.
around. Yeah, and I got the idea from my fiance, my boyfriend at the time, but he's a fiance now. He was
Okay.
like, "You should get paid for this."
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Yeah.
He was like, "You should get paid for this," and I was like, "Okay, if people will pay me, I'll do it." And that's kind of where it started.
Michigan State University. Dope.
Mhm.
Okay. And what high school did you go to? Is it close or
I went to Renaissance High School,
Renaissance?
Detroit.
Okay. All
Hmm.
right, nice. Detroit. All right. You like real Detroit, huh? That like that's who you are. I love it.
Definitely.
Have you thought about going like venturing out and going to maybe California or some other places? Yeah.
Totally. California, I know that Atlanta is kind of like Black Hollywood.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
definitely like, okay, if it's not California, definitely looking at Atlanta. I think it's cheaper. So that might be the
Yeah.
better move. You're not from Detroit, it's cold up here. It's not the
Right.
coldest, but it's cold.
It's cold,
So
right. And Atlanta is yeah, they're blowing up right now with Hollywood. Tyler Perry is really doing his thing out there. So it's like, yeah, that might be a good look as well. I love it. What has been most surprising to you on your entrepreneur journey?
it seems like everybody's doing it. Like that's what it right now.
Yeah, right.
After COVID, everyone was kind of like, oh my gosh, my job, my 9 to 5 can't pay me because I'm not there because everyone's at
Right.
home. So everyone just kind of been like, okay, I'm in my bag now, like where's my talent? What other interests do I have? How can I make money? So it felt
Right.
like that just kind of exploded this year. And that it's funny because I feel like before COVID hit, I was just like, yeah, I just really want to go in harder on my business this year. And then boom.
Boom.
So it's just yeah, like boom, like everybody was doing it, and it kind of you can get in a place where you start comparing yourself, and you're like, okay, this person has all this money to get all this great graphics and stuff together, and you're like, okay, am I just not doing it right? Like all that type of stuff. So it's because it's great because it's like, oh, all these people want to help you, but then it's also on the other hand, you feel like everybody's doing the same thing as you. So it's like, okay, where do I fit in?
And I think that's excellent that you pointed that out because no doubt like 2020 seemed like it was the turn of like entrepreneurship, right? Like it went from your timeline saying, oh, did you see what was happening with Ghosts and on Power and this and that? And then all of a
Yes.
sudden it was like, oh, anyone does logos, anyone does websites. And I was like, wow,
Oh,
okay, this is a good change. You know what I mean? And it was good for us. But like you said, I think it's a trend. Thank you. It's a trend
yeah.
right now. You know what I mean? So I think what's going to happen is that there's going to be a shift. You know what I mean? Like
Totally.
the people who are just doing who are riding that wave right now, they're going to do it for some time. You know what I mean? They have the money, like you said. Maybe it's because of their job or whatever it may be. They're going to ride that wave, I think, for a little bit. But the beginning of starting the business is like it's all exciting, right? You tell your friends, your family, and you know what I'm saying? Then after that, then the real work comes in. You know what I mean?
Totally.
Then it's like, okay, now it's just like my 9 to 5, except it's 9 to 9. You know what I mean? Or
Nine to
nine
nine, 9 to 2.
9 to 12 or 9 to 2, right? You know what I
Yes.
mean? So
Mhm.
I think that's really, really good that you pointed that out. I totally agree. I think this is a trend. But see, the great thing about it though, even if we decide to stick with it, you know what I mean, and we really, grow, I think it would be a great look for us, especially for us Black people. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
We've always been at the tailor end of like everything. We help these businesses grow, since the beginning of the
A
time.
lot.
But I think it's a great trend. Hopefully, you know what I mean? We're really serious about it and we really take it
Yeah.
to the next level. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
It's crazy, but it's encouraging because it's like, I know there's a lot of people who were like, my New Year's resolution that I wanted to do,
to do right.
And you're
Now I'm
like,
done.
okay, cool, I guess. But
Right, right. And
yeah,
I hear that now, what you just said, support Black Business Day, you know what I mean? Or whatever
yeah,
it is. And it's crazy that we have to look at it that way. You know what I mean? But when you look at the Koreans, when you look at Hispanics, the small Nigerian communities, they're all supporting themselves. It's not even a support Black day. We're the only ones who are conditioned naturally to support white automatically. We don't have our own community, you know, like these other minorities. You know, they stay within their circle and they shop from each other. You know what I mean?
I love, and it's cool to watch, but then when you're like, dang, why can't we do this? Like, then it's all these different reasons why, like, well, they have bad customer service, or well, they're not good customers. And then it goes back and forth, like, okay, but there's bad customer service people that are white or
everywhere.
Or anywhere. I remember one time somebody was supposed to tow my car, and I think they were like Chaldean, Middle Eastern, something of that. And we couldn't really understand each other. And it's like, oh, I don't understand what you're saying. And he got frustrated. He was almost yelling at me. And I was just like, I'm not doing business with you because you're not being disrespectful to me. You know, it's nothing about your race or anything. It's like, you're just being disrespectful. I don't need your business.
Right.
Period. So I'm like, okay, why is it so easy for me to hang up the phone with that and then still go and call, you know, anybody who can do whatever the job is and be okay with it being another Chaldean person or being another white person, but you get quote unquote burned one time by a Black person. It's like never again. How is that fair?
Like, not fair at all. Right. Yeah, exactly. You know what I mean? So I think we have to really start to like really come into our own and really say, cool, you know, it's going to be some bad apples and it's going to be some good ones, you know what I mean? But you don't get good without at first giving them a chance, right? You know what I mean?
Totally.
You got to give them a chance, you know what I mean? So I think you're right. We have to find that love, that bond with each other to continue to uplift each other, you know what I mean? And not be so hard on each other. I think we are the hardest on each other when it comes to just, you know, Black people.
With everything though, not just business, like with everything, like, oh, she don't know how to raise her kids, or oh, he's a bad father. It's just like, why are we so judgmental? I think it's like you said, it's conditioning. This has happened over a long period of time, so we have to undo that, and it's gonna take a while. But if we're all open to it,
absolutely,
then
then it does. You know what I mean? We have to get to that point where we look at, you know, the small Black business on the corner that's selling belts that one day, you know, we visualize that, oh, that's going to be the Gucci belt, you know, guy, but, you know, in our own, for us, you know what I mean? We have to visualize that, you know what I mean? I think that's so important. And that's one of the reasons why, you know, I love doing what I do. Like, I love talking to people who built their business. I love helping people build their business because that's the vision that I have for, especially my people. Like, I have that vision, you know what I'm saying? Like, hey, multi-million-dollar mindset, point blank. You know what I mean? Like, we go there. So I think that's an excellent point. And let me ask you, who have been some of the influences or maybe books that you've read or anyone that you like to emulate?
Yeah, I think people on YouTube, and when that was becoming like an avenue for you to build your own brand, it was people like Lily Singh. She's not a business owner per se. She does have a production company, I think called Unicorn Island, and she's Indian. She's from Canada. Like that was kind of like a whole other like, okay, she's quirky, she's funny. You know, she's not even from here, but she kind of just fits right in, and she's talking about everything I talk about or I care about, and she's building her brand from the ground up. Like, it started with her just being like, Mom, Dad, I don't want to go to college, so give me a year and I'm gonna make this thing blow up, you know, and it worked. Wow. And that's one person. You know, Rihanna, I know she was already famous, she already established, but even the concept of we need to make makeup more inclusive. Like, I don't want to say that you would never think of it, but as a Black woman, you're just kind of used to it. Oh, well, I know I'm not gonna be able to find my shade, so no, whatever, I'll just go next week, or like settling for subpar, you know, inclusivity. And you're just like, okay, well, I'll just deal with it because we've always had to deal with it. Like, she was like, no, we need more shades, we need more colors, we need a lipstick or lip gloss that fits everybody, that doesn't look crazy on me because I'm Black, or looks crazy on you because you're Indian. Like, we need all of these things to be covered. And that was like, okay, yeah, I like that.
That's it.
Like that. Yeah, that's it.
A big part of it is being innovative. You know what I mean? And I think that's what she did. You know what I mean? I think it was easier. It's easier for these celebrities to go ahead and find this innovation, because they have the resources and capital to go ahead and say, hey, I have an idea, and they can really quickly turn that around, but yeah, you're right. And I got to tell you, like, I was shocked to see how much women spend on beauty.
Oh man.
Like,
And I
like billions.
because I mean, I don't want to say because you're not a woman, but like
It's
it's
all good.
in the budget. It's
Right.
literally in the budget. I remember one time my dad was sitting me down, just like trying to give me money management skills. And he was like, okay, so let's break down your expenses. And he's like, your hair, your nails. And I was like, how do you know? Like, I was like, where'd that come from? But it was like, you're right. Like, I do take into account getting my hair done every 2 weeks or maybe once a month if you're getting braids or something, getting your nails done. Like, I'm not gonna lie to you, Deshaun, I spend $70 on my nails.
Your nails.
And it's like, but I like to spread it out. So I like to do it once a month as long as possible, just to penny pinch a little bit. But there's some women who will spend like $80 every 2 weeks.
Easy.
And they will buy brand new weave or they will get braids. And braids is a long process in itself. So you're kind of paying more for the time than the actual hair. But that's like $200 right there for a full head of braids. Like, it's a lot. It's a lot of money.
And it's a lot, but I think that's what makes this industry so powerful, though. You know what I mean? It tells you that there's money out there to get. You just have to be innovative to go get it.
There's a girl that I really, really admire. I don't know her last name, but her name is Giselle. And she's I think she's Afro-Latina, and she has a brand called Glam Light. And the theme is food. Like, it's food-based palettes. And it's like, where did you even think of that? But it worked for her. Of course, I want a palette that's shaped like pizza. I love pizza. Give me that for $40. Like, like you said, being innovative, anything can, just because it's different from somebody else, which is awesome, because I feel like now we're learning to push into our differences instead of pull away from them now. As a generation, it kind of feels like that's the move, which is great.
Right. Absolutely. And what kind of typical client do you see? You know what I mean? What does your typical client look like?
Yeah, well, a lot of the time it's younger girls. I've had a lot of friends that are models, a lot of people who are actors trying to get headshots and stuff like that, or people who just want to splurge, because I know the pandemic, people are kind of going even more out of the way for special occasions, birthdays.
Right.
You can't have, grandma and cousin Lulu and everybody there. Well, I'm at least gonna be super bad this day. Like,
right, I heard that.
Yeah. So the facials I've given, I think one girl for Valentine's Day, her boyfriend was like, I want a facial for her and a full glam look for a photo shoot. I was like, okay. It's something about this time where it's like, we're gonna celebrate hard, because there's been a lot of, of the opposite. So let's go hard. So that's good for me.
That's wonderful. And I agree. I think we need to take these holidays now, like, as sacred. You know what I mean? Like, a lot of people are like, look, I'm so sorry that I said no to these occasions, but this time invite me and I'm going. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So yeah. So I think that's really awesome. I think you bring in that glam look to make these both ladies and whoever else feel wonderful. You know what I mean? So I think that's beautiful. I think, in my opinion, it's a way to express ourselves, you know what I'm saying? And it's a way to make them feel good. How do they feel, when they come in, and versus how they feel when they leave?
Yeah, I try to encourage people that they don't necessarily need the makeup. It's just an amplifier, like you said. It's almost like, dyeing your hair red or wearing a really cool outfit. Like, you're just adding on to who you already are.
Right.
So when people come in, I very much try to encourage them. Oh yeah, you're still beautiful. Like, what's up? Like, how can I make you even prettier today? How can I make you even more confident today? I give them tips. I try to give them tips about things that they don't like, to fix those, correct those. And then we add on from there. I tell them what I'm doing. But if you want to ever do some of these things for yourself, I try to explain it as I'm going through it. And then they look in the mirror and they're like, this is like it's me, but it's not me. Like, this is great. And that's all I want, for people to just feel beautiful and feel encouraged and confident, especially people who feel like, oh, I'm going to look crazy, don't go too hard on me. And it's like, no, I got you.
Do you feel like being a Black business owner, has that worked out in your favor, or do you feel like it's a little bit more difficult and more challenging for you?
I almost feel like it's like we said before, almost like a double-edged sword, because it's like, I know as a Black woman what I want. You know what I'm saying? But sometimes, like we talked about earlier, Black people don't always want to spend, with Black
Right,
business because of experiences that they have in the past, or maybe they
right,
just feel like it's not worth the money, whatever.
right.
But and then you're kind of like, okay, well, how do I, segue into everybody? Because the goal is for everybody to use me because then there's no limits.
Yeah, you bring up a really good point. You were this reminds me of a book called Tribes from Seth Godin. Have you ever heard of him?
I don't
No.
think.
Okay, yeah, he has a really great book. It's about how back in the days, when we would represent our brand, it was real easy. You would put it on a commercial, or I should say advertise our brand. You would create a commercial and then you put it, everywhere. And what I'm saying, just like that, the Pepsis and the Coca-Colas and all these big brands, you would want to go out and get it. But today it's extremely saturated. Today, he says that there's a new philosophy and it's called tribes, whereas you go and you talk to people who identify with you, people who talk like you, people who want to support you, people
Yeah.
who don't mind, the type of product or service that you have. They want to be a part of that.
Mhm.
So I think it's a really great book. Check it out. It's called Tribes. Yeah,
Yeah.
Seth Godin, and it really gives you a better leg up on how to get your own customers and clients, and to make sure that you're only being supported by the people who really love you. You know what I mean? And it takes away also, another great point is that it takes away all the people who feel like they may, don't like you or don't like your service or your product. It's like, hey, you don't have to work with me. You know what I mean?
Right.
This is my group. This is the people who support me. I support them, and you know what I mean? And we roll. You know what I'm saying? So yeah,
Yeah.
check it out. Yeah, it's called Tribes. It's a really great book. Yeah.
Hey,
So
I love you.
so tell me what's next for Jan Cosmo. Tell me what's next.
It's a lot going on. I have people coming to the shop that I'm at now. So I'm actually stationed in the shop. Obviously, if anybody hired me, I'll travel on site. So the Wedding Wire and the Knot, I actually just started working with them as a wedding vendor. So they're like the number one wedding app in the country and all that great stuff. So that's dope. Like just having
Nice.
a lot of more influx of wedding clients and stuff like that. We have a pop-up shop coming up in March.
Nice. Love
And
it.
that's in
Okay.
Detroit. So if you're not in
Right.
Detroit, tell somebody in Detroit to
Yeah,
come.
absolutely.
And then the pop-up shop that's going to be at the Veenetian Hall. It's their first annual pop-up shop. So good for them. And that is going to be at 13960 Gratiot Avenue in Detroit, Michigan, 48205. And that's March 7th from 1 to 4.
Nice. So what can people look forward to at your pop-up?
So I just launched a liquid lipstick collection called the Out of This World OOTW collection. That's on our website. It's available for pre-order. We have 5 shades. It was released for my birthday, so 5 for my 25th. I just turned 25. And for the Out of This World liquid lipstick collection, they're named after the planets. So right now it's only 5. I know there's more. So it's Earth, Mercury, Venus, Jupiter, and Mars. You can check that out at our website. And yeah.
What is your website and all your social media handles?
Well, you can find me on Facebook and Instagram. I have 2 separate pages on both. Me as my personal brand, Shelby Love on Instagram. So that's at SHELBYLOV3. Jan Cosmo is at JANCOSMO with underscore. And then it's January Cosmo on Facebook and Shelby Love spelled the regular way on Facebook as well. And our website is www.JanCosmoLLC.com.
Well, Shelby Love, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you so much for the opportunity.
And for those listening, be sure to check out Jan Cosmo for your cosmetic and skincare needs. Check out her pop-up if you are in the Detroit area on March 7th at the Veenetian Hall. Support Jan Cosmo, support Black and minority businesses, and remember to love your life and master yourself. Peace.